All right, this is Health Nibble number 75, I think, and it's what to expect on day 2 of a 5-day water fast. So, for when people are first starting to fast and they're not fat adapted, day 2 is brutal. It's just you get hunger pains and all you can think about is food. And I actually thought about food. Sorry, we just got a phone call. Another phone call.
It's our son trying to reach us.
Kai, will you call crew and tell them we'll call him?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, there he is.
Here we
I
go.
love live Facebook.
Don't do it on speakerphone.
Hello.
Tell her we'll call him in a minute.
Yep.
Hi, Chris.
Okay, so anyway, day 2 is usually pretty tough when you're not fat adapted. When you are, it really wasn't that big of a deal to me. I got a little tired, and then I would just drink some water. Maybe we have these supplements that are hydrogen. It's a hydrogen supplement, which is a redox molecule, so it doesn't it balances the cells. It doesn't push them one way or the other. So that'll be another health nibble. But anyway, sorry. So day 2 is tough, but the neat thing is once you get through day 2, that's oftentimes when you really start getting into like heavy ketosis. And that's when a lot of the great things like the autophagy, the stem cells, actually on day 3, most of the time you get autophagy, which if you remember is when the body gobbles up all the bad cells, including cancer cells. Not usually at day 3, but stem cell production, it resets the DNA, so it upregulates good genes and downregulates bad genes. It resets the microbiome. It redirects energy to healing that your body's typically spending on digesting food. Then when you look at like all the ketones, all the effects of that, we talked about, for brain healing and clarity of thought, and also resetting the microbiome. And then
Clarity of thought hasn't quite kicked in for me yet.
You still struggling?
A little bit.
Yeah. And that's the body getting used to just like basically your brain just functioning on ketones, which it prefers. It functions better on ketones. It's a really clean burning fuel. And I know I'm repeating myself from previous nibbles, but it's really important for you to understand. And then the last one would be hormone optimization. So most of this stuff isn't happening on day 2. Insulin, optimizing insulin is definitely happening on day 2, but when you really get like the growth hormone and things like that, that's 3 through 5 basically. So
you want to talk a little bit about your symptoms that you're feeling today?
Oh yeah, so I have maybe a little bit of fatigue, not a ton. I go through little waves. I get a little bit of a headache. I think most of that is I'm a pretty heavy coffee drinker. That's definitely one of my flaws. And I think some of that is just caffeine withdrawal. Mm-hmm. A little sleepy. I sleep like a baby. I sleep like I did when I was a kid. Whenever I'm in.
The sleep is amazing.
The sleep
is amazing. It really is amazing. I would say yesterday was my hardest day. This is my 3rd 5-day water fast this year. So each one is a little different that you do. So the very first one that I did the last 2 days of the water fast was really hard for me. The second one I did, I would say day 3 was my hardest day, and this time so far day 1 was my hardest. And I don't know, I got this headache and I just had to, Lee adjusted me and I had to sleep a little bit, and I woke up and I felt fine. And I don't know if it was getting off the coffee or what it was.
Well, you're detoxing too.
And I have been detoxing.
Erin's high in lead, so we've been trying to detox that out of her body, and so she's right off of one of those phases. So that could be it, because you do 24-hour fast all the time, so it doesn't make sense that that would trigger that.
And today I felt great, and actually today my ketones really spiked up, so I think that really helped me feel better. But still, clarity of thought isn't quite there yet. I think tomorrow will be good.
Yeah. And then sometimes people feel cold. And I felt a little cold today, and normally I'm super hot at work, and the girls are all freezing. They're in sweaters, and I'm sweating. But your body, the reason that happens is, T4 is converted to T3, and then T3 goes into the cell. So we're talking about thyroid hormone, and so the body starts backing off on that T3 hormone, and it's actually for muscle conservation. So the body's really smart. It knows how to survive. You got to think of everything through this, hunter-gatherer model. So, why would these things be happening 10,000 years ago? But there's just so much healing that goes on, and the majority of it, if you can get through, that's why if you can get a 24-hour fast, then try a 24-hour fast. The majority of the amazing stuff happens from day 3 to day 5. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, so do you want to test your ketones?
Sure.
So I'll just keep talking here, but the ketone, we talked about the ketone to glucose ratio, and there's Thomas Seyfried is the leading researcher who is wiping cancer out by moving the body into ketosis, because cancer can't feed on ketones. So he has these ratios that he's seen clinically, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to get to, and where you want to get. So I wrote this on a piece of paper so you could see it. So the ratio of glucose to ketones is 1:1, and so this 1:1 ratio is actually converted into.
Can't see 82 for my glucose. That actually
glucose
went up.
is 82.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, can you see that? Yeah. So you convert 80 to 4.4, and you do that. I mean, basically, you're taking the American model where good blood sugar would be, say, 80 to 100, and you divide that by 18, and that's where you get this number. Which, if your blood sugar was at 80, you would want your ketones to be to be in a ratio that your body would kill cancer, would be a 1:1 ratio. So your ketones would be at 4.4, and your glucose converted to millimoles per deciliter would be at 4.4, which would be your glucose reading and then divide it by 18. So that's what I did right here. You could take a snapshot of that. You could probably, pause it and take a screenshot.
Okay, so I was 1.6 for my ketones.
So she was 1.6, and what was your other one?
86. So I'm going to do the math here.
No, you aren't. You're on a calculator.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah, so 4.7.
4.7. Yeah, so got a ways to go.
So Erin, with her blood sugar where it is, I need to turn that up. It's all about the blood sugar. You got to get the blood sugar down. Hang on here, I'm testing my ketones.
So with my glucose being at 86, I need it to be a little bit lower, and my ketones to be a little bit higher to have that 1:1 ratio.
And I just got an error. We have a little girl here distracting us.
Checking it right now.
I'm checking it right now. Another people talk about, I've even seen people come in on diets where they're checking their ketones in their urine. And those are the ketones that you don't use. So we don't use that at all.
So he's at 88, so he's about right where I am.
88. Earlier today, I was in the 70s.
I was too, so I don't know what.
So maybe sometimes a little cortisol. So maybe it's like doing this video.
Yeah.
Like being in a hurry trying
Actually
to get it
feel
done.
a little warmer.
Yeah.
Here, you need help? Got it. Okay, he's getting ready to do his ketones here.
Okay.
Does
We're gonna
that
mess
hurt?
this up because we're trying to.
Does that hurt when it pokes into you?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt. Okay, here it's counting down.
Sorry for how inefficient we are. So my ketones are at 1.5.
So we're about the same ratio. 'Cause I
Yeah,
was
which is
1.6.
totally fine for after 2 days. I mean, and if you're not there, don't get frustrated. Erin and I are really fat adapted. We can get into ketosis with just a half day of or 3/4 of a day of fasting and you know, just eating fat and no carbohydrates. So, but getting your body adapted, fat adapted, where ultimately, you know, I also played hockey yesterday, which is not what I recommend when you're trying to go into a fast and get into high levels of ketosis, but I just didn't want to miss my game, so I did it anyway. But it's working out, so I probably would have been even higher, even more into ketosis had I not done that. But
Okay. Have you told them about the fasting for a purpose?
no, so there's a fasting for a purpose page that is actually put on by my mentor, Dr. Dan Pompa, that has just a ton of great information on it.
And they're doing a group fast right now, so if you...
It's a partial fast. It's not a water fast.
Well, they talk about the water fast. They do different ones each time, but this time they're focusing on the partial fasting. So it's pretty interesting to follow, and you can get a lot of feedback and just kind of see what people are going through during a fast and the symptoms that they're having, and just know that those are normal. Those are
And there's purpose
signs
behind
of
it.
healing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. Lots of support
You
there.
guys want one?
Okay, well, that's your
Tide's
health
giving us
nibble for the day.
Band-Aids now.
Band-Aids for our fingers. All right.
All right, see you tomorrow.